strangers. I'm Amy. I'm an ordinary person living in this world at this time on this earth, and I happen to be a mental health therapist. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everybody that this is not a substitute for professional therapy or psychological advice, but rather a place to gain information about mental health. If you feel like you are in a crisis or need to connect with mental health services, text or call 988. This is a free 24/7 support resource for mental health, substance abuse, and more. But for now, sit back, settle in, and let's talk about mental health. Today's episode, we're going to talk about alternative or less traditional forms of treatment for disorders such as PTSD or complex PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. There's lots of names for alternative or less traditional approaches, such as holistic, Eastern medicine, mind body therapies, natural approaches. Trauma just doesn't affect your mind, it hits your body, your emotions, and even your sense of meaning and purpose. Trauma keeps us stuck in survival mode, that fight or flight. Natural approaches strengthen your body's ability to recognize and manage stress. It aids in mental clarity, increases energy, helps you be less mood dysregulated. It boosts positive mood and reconnects you to your body and spirit. A lot of the alternative or less traditional forms of treatment also concentrate on cortisol levels. Now, cortisol is a hormone in the body. It's often referred to as a stress hormone. So, what does this stress hormone do? With PTSD, your body's stress system can get stuck in overdrive. So, what that means is you're always on edge, wired, you can't sleep, your cortisol levels may be too high. Your cortisol levels can also become too low, which might render you disconnected, feeling numb, feeling burnt out. Either way, it means your stress response isn't regulating properly. When that happens, it can lead to sleep problems, fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, immune and digestive system issues, trouble healing emotionally. So, we're going to talk about some types of mind body therapies or approaches. Some common ones would be yoga, meditation, breath work, tai chi. These practices regulate the nervous system. It rebuilds body awareness, improves emotional regulation, and restores a sense of control and safety. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, what's that? That's the body system. It's a built-in peace mode, right? It turns off the stress and alarm and helps you feel safe and calm and in control again. It's the body's natural calming system. It signals safety within the body and it helps you come to that centered place, that grounding place, that place of feeling secure. Oftentimes, the body will give you warning signs before you spiral out or spin out or become overwhelmed or get so anxious and you're on the verge of a panic attack. Your body begins to give you signs. Part of these types of approaches help you tune in to how your body communicates with you. Psychotherapy also can assist you with that as well. When you can recognize your body's warning signs, it, in a sense, becomes the cue, like fight or flight would, but a cue of, okay, I feel this coming. Okay, what can I do to manage it, regulate it? And so that mind body connection, such as with breath work, that can help recenter you. This awareness gives you tools to respond, not just react. Mind body practices are empowering. You learn how to calm your own body and create a felt sense of, okay, I got this. When we're talking about natural and holistic approaches, we can also talk about things like acupuncture. Now, your body has a bunch of energy highways. They're called meridians. And when something blocks the flow within your body, you can feel pain, stress, or an emotional imbalance. Have you ever thought to yourself, I just feel off? Acupuncture works as like a reset button. It helps open up those blocked pathways so that everything flows better. Other forms of less traditional approaches is herbal supports. Herbs can work kind of like a gentle medicine, but they're often more about supporting your body's own healing process than forcing a quick fix. Herbal medicines, for a lot of people, may replace psychopharmaceuticals. Now, admittedly, herbal support and herbal medicines outside of my personal wheelhouse. I know enough that when I have an upset stomach, peppermint helps. Or when I need to calm myself, ginger and lemon. Or if I want to use aromatherapy, lavender. Common things that might think, okay, right? When's the last time you went into a store and went to the candle section and thought, oh, it smells so good in here? If you ever want to explore things like herbal support, please reach out to somebody who has a specialty in that or some education and knowledge of that. You might have to seek them out. The most common, most accessible are tea shops, and just speaking with somebody there about what kind of herb mixtures are they putting in a tea and how can they aid the body. Another less traditional approach is nutritional therapy. Now, nutritional therapy is about using food and nutrition as a medicine to support your body's healing, especially when it's been thrown out of whack or thrown out of balance by stress or trauma or illness. It's not about strict diets. It's about feeding your brain and your body with what your brain and your body needs to function at its highest level, to feel calmer, to bounce back from stress. Speaking to a nutritionist can certainly help guide you in that way. With this approach, you're most likely going to hear about vitamins, right? Now, personally, I take ginger, I take magnesium, I take melatonin, I take fish oils. Honestly, I'm not sure what all of them actually do. I know I feel more steady, more grounded, more balanced when I give my body through vitamins what I don't always get through food. Now, whole nutrient dense foods like colored veggies, right? Colored vegetables, the greens, fruits, healthy fats, lean proteins. These are more commonly what we hear our doctors talk to us about or what we read in the latest article or magazine. Reducing processed sugars and alcohol and processed foods, that's going to be helpful too. Everything that we are exposed to or expose ourselves to makes a difference, whether that's food, sounds, the air that we breathe, the environment in which we live in, the kinds of products that we use on our body. All of it makes a difference. There isn't anything in this world that doesn't touch us, whether that's our mind, our body, our spirit. So if we're talking about nutrition, thinking about all the things that we ordinarily ingest or expose ourselves to that we barely even think about. Just take coffee, for example. I love coffee. I drink too much coffee some days. I have to pay attention to that. If I have more than my 12 ounces of coffee with too much sugar or not enough sugar, or more cream or not enough cream, all of it makes a difference. I'm either going to love that coffee because that's perfectly right and my day starts off well, or it's crappy coffee and I'm unsatisfied. And that can just even affect the way I'm thinking about something at a given moment. Those subtle little things that we do make a big difference. Another alternative approach that has become popular with people, particularly with trauma, is CBD or medical cannabis. Now, CBD has become very popular for treating trauma because it helps with that constantly feeling on edge or the chronic anxiety that can come with PTSD or the chronic difficulty with sleeping or nightmares, that emotional dysregulation, muscle tension, and stress symptoms that we often can experience with PTSD. It's often described as bringing a subtle sense of calm or helping the body feel more grounded without numbing or sedating. Now, I advise you, if you're going to explore something like CBD or medical cannabis, please talk to somebody that knows about those things. Everybody's body is different. And anytime you introduce something new to your system, you have to wait to see how your body's going to respond to that. Now, with medical cannabis, one of the things that I really appreciate about the industry is that when you walk into a dispensary, there are educated providers that can help you select a particular strand of cannabis that's going to help target exactly what you're looking for, whatever symptom you're trying to reduce or increase. Medical cannabis works by supporting your system, especially when it's out of balance. Again, when you have trauma or have had trauma, it runs havoc on your body and in your brain. And if it's complex PTSD, which means your body's been adjusting to that for many, many years, decades even, your body has adapted and believes that the way it functions is normal. It's not normal. It's normal for somebody who has trauma, but it's not consistent with what would feel like a normal way of functioning. So, with medical cannabis, plant-based medicine, right, that helps people manage symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, depression, racing thoughts, sleep problems, chronic pain. Now, depending on the state that you're in, that may require you to get a medical cannabis card. Or in many states, it's open to the public. Again, please remember that your body is your body, your system is your system. Regulating strands, doses, amounts, please talk to somebody that's educated about that. Other types of therapies that I want to talk about that may not readily be accessed, and they're actually a little bit more difficult to find providers that do this sort of thing. But art therapy. Art therapy is a form of psychotherapy that uses creative expression like drawing or painting or sculpting to help people explore emotions, reduce anxiety, and process traumatic experience. It's guided by a licensed art therapist and not just a creative class. Why this works for PTSD is it's the nonverbal expression. I mentioned before that sometimes it's very difficult to articulate something that has happened or something that you experience, particularly if the trauma or the occurrence is no longer active, but yet you're still experiencing all the symptoms. It gives a medium in order to tap into feelings and emotions that you might not be able to verbally communicate. It also helps create a distance. You can explore painful memories through metaphors and symbolisms, which often can feel safer. It promotes regulation. The physical act of creating can soothe the nervous system. It also rebuilds sense of self. Trauma can shatter our identity, and various treatments like art therapy or, of course, psychotherapy, they can piece back together in a more tangible way, finding oneself again. I think something that's a notable mention is connecting with something outside of oneself, the sense of community. Now, community can occur in a lot of different ways. It can be a structured peer support group. Community can be found in your friends, your hobbies, your spiritual community, people that you connect with, like minded individuals. There's something really powerful about being in a room or having a group of people in your life that really understand. Oftentimes, and I think I may have mentioned this, oftentimes when we're suffering from the effects of trauma, we feel it so much inside, but to be able to verbalize it or articulate it seems impossible. But when you're with a sense of community, there's something really magical that happens about that. I can't speak enough about it. Having a community in my life has been most transformative. And in the last year in particular, I have been able to connect with a community of individuals of all sorts of varieties. And I have never felt more blessed and grateful to have them. Not only is there the freedom to be authentic and be myself, I've learned so much about the different points of view and how other people's experiences have impacted them and the things that they do that help. I can't speak enough about how community is just, it's a necessity. And so wherever you can connect with other people, look for it. Living with trauma can feel isolating, and it often can render us feeling very alone. To connect with something outside of ourselves in a way that provides love, caring, consideration, support, empathy. There's nothing like that. Many of us who have experienced trauma didn't have those things. It's what contributed to the trauma in the first place. So, in your healing, if you can create that for yourself, don't ignore the magic that truly can happen with connecting with something outside of yourself. These alternative or less traditional ways of treating trauma all have that sense of returning oneself to safety, inner peace, and grounding. Now, these approaches, as with most forms of treatment, work best under the care of a provider who can navigate you through the hows and whys and the whens and the best utilization of these approaches for healing. It's best to consult with a practitioner, especially if you're already on medication or doing some type of consistent form of treatment. My encouragement is to start low and slow. Introduce your body to these new adjustments and new styles of trying to induce calmness and peace with oneself. These approaches can be a very effective tool alongside the other therapies or other treatments. There is not a one size fits all when it comes to treating PTSD or complex PTSD. Customize your healing in the way that best works for you. So I hope that you heard something today that keeps you wanting to come back, and I really appreciate your time that you spent with me. So until next time, hello, strangers. I'm Amy.